Let's see how to enter, move, delete, and carry out other simple operations with shells in CYPE-3D. To do this, we open the Shells menu at the top of the interface. First of all, we enter a shell by clicking on the New option. This opens the panel for defining the shell. In the top part, we indicate the shell section data, including its thickness in the selected units of measurement. We can activate and type in a subgrade modulus in the local z-axis. This way, the program considers the elastic fixity of the shell in the axis perpendicular to its plane. This can be useful to simulate situations such as ground-supported elements. Later, we define the shell's material. Among those available are concrete, rolled steel, cold-formed steel, extruded aluminium, and generic. If we select one of the first ones, on the right-hand side we indicate whether we want to use the material selected in the General Data options, or if we prefer to select the material of the shell directly in the drop-down menu. If we select generic material, we directly specify the modulus of elasticity, Poisson's ratio, coefficient of thermal expansion, and unit weight. Once we accept, we must enter the points of the polyline that defines the outline of the shell using the left mouse button. Just as when entering the bars, we can use Object Snap and Template Object Snaps, among other options. In the introduction process, we can erase the last introduced point or erase all introduced points if necessary. After selecting all the points on the perimeter of the shell, we click on the right mouse button to finish the process. From this point on, we can continue drawing other shells on the model, or we right-click the mouse to return to the definition panel. If we click on Cancel or close this panel, we exit the option. The shell will be connected to the rest of the elements of the structure if they are in contact with its edges or with the nodes or bars contained in its geometry. Now let's look at how to perform some additional operations using the other tools in the Shells menu. We use Move to move the nodes on the perimeter of the shell to a new position. To do this, after clicking on the option, we first select the shell we wish to move with the left mouse button. Then, also using the left mouse button, we select the nodes of the shell that we wish to move. We confirm our selection by right-clicking the mouse. Now, we mark 2 points that define the direction and magnitude of the displacement with the left mouse button. The next option allows us to delete a group of shells. To do this, we select the shells we wish to delete with the left mouse button or use the crossing method, and then validate them with the right mouse button. Then, using Join, we can join several shells that have an edge in common and are contained in the same plane. We select the shells we wish to join with the left mouse button or use the crossing method, and then confirm the operation with the right mouse button. If we have defined grouped planes, the program will join the same shells as the ones selected in these planes. We can also divide shells. To do this, after clicking on the option, we select the 2 points that will define the dividing segment with the left mouse button. The shells are completely divided even if the dividing segment partially penetrates them. If we have defined grouped planes, the program will divide shells intersecting with the respective segment in those planes. Lastly, we can search for a shell by entering its reference. In order to search by typing the entire reference text, we mark the Only Whole Word text box. If we uncheck it, we can type in part of the reference text. The program will highlight the shells whose reference matches the entered text by marking them with a magenta-coloured box in the model view.